Yeah. What is going on? So, let's talk a little bit about where I am. And I got a decent, good story here to tell that is great in comparison to the last story, especially of the guy I talked about, I think yesterday or whatever. I got a great juxtaposition for that. So, all right, where am I at? Always trying to move the needle, right? So I had some ads that I started running today, and nothing yet, but I'm new at it, so I know it's going to take some time for me to dial it in. But yeah, so that I need to start getting these cold emails out. Probably do that sometime this week. Working on a directory site. And then I'm trying to get some testing going. Some better testing, some good testing that I can maybe start releasing some of the stuff I'm doing or some of the tests. Because here's the problem that I see on YouTube a lot. I think, unfortunately, people are on YouTube for the most part to get clients. And even people who sell SEO services, or even the people who talk about SEO almost like they're talking to SEOs, they're trying to get clients. Now, here's how I draw the line. If the guy that you're listening to, if his clients, right, are other SEO companies, then or other SEOs, I think that's a good thing, because they're not talking to two audiences, right? And I don't need to get into me. Into whether or not I apply. That doesn't matter. So, but I find that a lot of the people I listen to who they talk to SEOs and they are SEOs, but they sell things to other SEOs, I like that, because their only motivation is to give you their expertise so they can sell you something or help you with something or sell you an education course or tools or whatever. But they don't really have any other reason to try to change the narrative in favor of like another business or a person who doesn't do SEO, right? Because that's the other side of it. I see these people, I get sent their videos or I'm watching their videos, and they're SEOs who are, their customers are not SEOs. They're some kind of business. And so this seems to change the dynamic slightly. Because now you need to talk about SEO, but it needs to come across in a way where it feels like harder, different, difficult, systematic, itemized. Because there has to be if you study SEO, you understand that it's not hard because it's difficult work. It's hard because it's always changing, right? And it varies so much from day to day. And not everything always works the exact same way, from business to business, niche to niche, client to client, So I just think when you have a customer who's watching one of your videos, potentially maybe two, the mystique around it needs to be on the side of difficulty and work. And so I just see a lot of these guys, right? And they're almost like creating this illusion of effort, of a lot of things need to be done. And especially in the local SEO space where I live, it's hard to be like, hey, dummy, these things work, but like not if you don't get reviews, and getting reviews is like half of this, right? Once you're optimized, then reviews are a big chunk. That doesn't mean that you have to be on guard. What's going to change? Who knows? That doesn't mean that SEO services don't help a lot. Doesn't mean that the content on your website can't help a lot. And I still think you can pay for SEO services with the benefits that you're going to get from actual search results if you're going for them. That being said, right, I think a lot of local SEO or convincing, they're either too dumb to know or they're convincing themselves that what they do is the same as traditional SEO, which means they can move the needle dramatically without the customer, right? And that's just not the case. The way I look at it, at least, is that reviews are the backlinks for local SEO, right? Just like search engine results were getting backlinks, so then all the rest of the stuff, right, would help. It's a big piece of it, right? All the other stuff. But for local SEO, I think reviews are backlinks. So as much as somebody tells you that by creating 1 million pages of content on their website and doing all this other stuff and using prompts and ChatGPT and making it seem like, oh man, we're doing a lot of freaking work here, right? Because we can move the needle over here and all this. It's like, you know, the soup is thick. You know, when somebody shows me search results and they show me that here's what I did or here's the results I got, dude, especially on the map, there's so many things that go into it. Yeah, you can pop off and you can get far, especially with optimization. I mean, how many businesses are just unoptimized? So whatever, that's my little rant here about I've just been seeing a lot of content lately where I don't know if the person is dumb or if they're trying to sell a bill of goods to other businesses about the work that needs to be done so that those other businesses go, dang, that's a lot of work. I definitely can't do that myself. But I really think, even though I disagree a lot with other SEOs who talk to other SEOs and sell things with other SEOs, I at least feel like I don't have to be concerned about there being a different driver behind it. They have no motivation but to be honest, right? You know, and so much just content these days is entertainment value and good marketing. And honestly, I feel like a lot of times that means being certain about something, regardless of whether if you not or not you are. Just bringing certainty to the table. I mean, I feel like I could be so convincing if I literally was just certain about whatever it is. I'm going to teach you this thing. I'm going to teach you that thing. I'm going to tell you how to do this the right way, right? And then, am I right? No, but I presented it in a way that seems pretty accurate. I said I did A, and then I showed you results. And who are you to dispute it? But that's what I'm saying. How many times is it one thing? It's like so many things, but that doesn't mean you can't isolate it. And that's what I'm trying to do in a few areas here. Luckily, I have enough customers now where I'm going to try to do some tweaks individually to each one, depending on where they are, and see how that helps. Because like one of the things I'm thinking today Well, there was just an update, right? And Yelp jumped. Do I know that for a fact? I do not actually, but I have read and heard that. So whatever. I don't think what I'm doing is going to hurt either way, but I'm thinking, well, that means the businesses that I have that aren't on Yelp, or if I have a customer that's not on Yelp, is that going to help a lot? So I went and put a couple of my new customers on, are they customers or clients? What do you call them? On Yelp. I put them on Yelp, and they've been a little bit cleaned up, meaning it's been a few weeks since I got them live, changed them over. They've got some reviews, and now I just put them on Yelp. And even though we're going to be doing a bunch of other things, I'm going to watch that, actually put them on Yelp. I made sure so citations, right? I like doing citations. Do I feel like they're that powerful? I don't know. I've done them for a lot of businesses and it's like whatever. But I'm almost wondering if these like 4 places are the most important. And so what I did was I took a guy and I went and cleaned him up and I added him to these. So he should be cleaned up and now added where it was not clean to Facebook with the proper address, phone, name. Same with Apple Maps, hopefully he gets accepted. Yelp, I adjusted him there, and Bing Places. So he should be now, hopefully within the next couple days, on all of those, going from a different name, everything being wrong, to now updating the NAP and putting that information all updated on those. And I think with the Yelp jump and all this other stuff, I want to see if that makes a dent. So I'm kind of excited about that little test, to see if that makes a dent in his rankings. And I'm just trying to isolate a few factors to see if we're going to actually move the needle on this. I don't want to be opposed to accepting the fact that if my job is to set up a website and then babysit somebody to get them reviews, that's the game, then that's the game. I don't think that's the case. But then I got another guy, site content. I'm going to test that. I have a bunch of city pages that I already made. He's ranking where he is, but he's in this little suburb city. So I'm going to create a couple pages on his website for that suburb city that he's in that I don't have content on. And I'm going to see if I can jump him up. I'm doing that for another client as well, where I'm going to create, like, there's an outskirts from his map city right on the edge that he isn't doing as well in. So I'm going to go create that city page and see if he jumps. So I'm trying to figure out if these are like 1-to-1. Where's the 1-to-1? Are there 1-to-1s? And then next one I'm doing, I got a different customer. I'm going to go build local links from all of my other customers' websites and a few others of people I know, all to his second location, which hasn't been ranking amazingly well. They don't get a lot of reviews, but he's not ranking insanely well there. So I'm going to build a ton of local backlinks to that landing page, right? Which is what people are like. If you want to get higher rankings, you want to link to the landing page that it's attached to the Google business profile. So that's another test. So I'm trying to isolate some factors and see where the needle moves. I guess my biggest split down the middle right now is what's the best approach for my customers. Now, look, I don't want to admit out loud that I'm considering things like click through services. Why am I having trouble remembering what that's called? Click-through rate, potentially, driving directions, these blasts. Just not all these things are necessarily black hat and gray hat. What about fake reviews? Do I want to admit that I would consider that? I don't love that, but at the same time, once again, I feel like what's your job as an SEO? Like, and I'm not doing any fake reviews. I haven't ever done them, but is my job to move the needle for the customer? Is that my job? Or is my job to work with the customer and try to help them build this? It's just such a different game with local SEO. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm kicking. So, if a customer gives me $1,000 a month, let's say, am I better off spending that on things that move the needle with content and with pages and with the website and those kind of things, right? Or am I better off moving the needle with click-through rates and reviews and other things that are, let's take reviews out of it, click-through rates and browser blasts and all this other stuff, right? That potentially helps them move the needle, but doesn't stick, meaning it kind of has to always be done. So is it consistent investment into short term that once you stop, it's done? Or can these long-term content stuff that is more lasting, right? Or is content and the Google business profile and setup for the most part just an optimization? Because that's the other thing. Like, we're all of us out here are freaking posting updates. Google business profile post updates. Okay. Yeah. How many clicks do you ever think you've gotten from those? Now, I think keeping active on the Google business profile, right? I think it's valuable. I think it's super valuable. Because I have definitely seen a one-to-one with being involved in the Google business profile and making changes. If you have to change the name, or you have to adjust the phone number or the address or the website, and you have not been keeping that trust up, then there's a huge chance that you just get suspended. But if you're doing a lot of these activities and replying and getting reviews, I think that also boosts your rankings, but it also just boosts your ability to make changes. And I think that says something, right? I think there's this like bandwidth, this amount of tension that you're allowed to have, based on how much trust you have, which is just based on like positive activity. So all those things are helpful, but if you took an hour to write a Google business post, do you think that's worth your time? 3 hours, right? To write a really good one, like, I just think anybody who's telling you that takes time and effort is either kidding you or kidding themselves. I don't think anybody reads those things. Now, maybe if you're in a huge, I don't know, whatever. I'm not gonna. If you are putting in the content time, then great. Maybe that helps. I'd love to see studies on this stuff. And that's kind of how I like to think. I don't know what's right or wrong because it's going to change. I want to be open to it, but I also don't think that, there's any reason to kid ourselves here or customers. So I try to be very, very honest about what the heck it is that we're trying to do. So, whatever. So that's a couple of my tests that I'm working on. Hopefully I'll have some information about that, but I'm looking to try to isolate some factors and see if I can get the needle to move in certain areas. If I make a page for a city that I didn't have a page in and it boosts my rankings in that area of my map pack, I'm going to be delighted. And maybe that's how you get the customers. But in my mind, all this click-through rate stuff all boils down to one thing. The customer first approach. Where I think if there's this outskirts city and you start getting some reviews from that city and people start mentioning it and you're replying, and now you get up and then you get more customers. So I almost think it's reflexive in the fact that as people from an area, even things you don't see, are clicking on your business and they're giving you reviews, and maybe you don't even know that person was from that city over here. Another thing, this guy told me that he's ranking really well, like in like way out, but he got his pictures taken there, like basically like 40 miles away from where I am, maybe even farther. But he gets calls from there once in a while, and he thinks, and that's where he got his pictures taken though. So he was like, I think maybe they got geotagged when they took them, and so he's like getting weird customers from this area. So the geotagging thing's interesting too. I've basically stopped doing that, but I almost wonder if you need to geotag a little bit, especially if somebody has just the wrong geotagged pictures, right? And you don't go through and geotag new ones around you. Like maybe that's a good argument for geotagging. So yeah, let me get my story here and then I'm out. So, okay. So yesterday I told the story of the guy who basically just burned the bridge, right, with his customer. Didn't tell the guy, but like, how are these? You're not going to find out. He delisted his whole website, right? When this customer told him that he wasn't going to work with him anymore. It's like, so he just scorched earth, burned the bridge, tried to destroy as much as he could, right? And I was, talking about like, who does this? Why do this? Like, don't you think somebody could come back? Like, why are you so unhelpful to people generally? Why isn't your goal just to help people? So then the next day, right? Or I guess this was yesterday. But this guy calls me, right? And he owned a multi-million-dollar gutter company, and he sold it to get out because it was just, for him, it was a nightmare. He was having difficulty with collectors and trying to pay all his bills, and he got sued a few times and whatever. And he was making some money, it sounds like, but it was just not worth the hassle that he felt like he had to go through. So he sold it, he made a couple bucks, and he got out. And so now he wants to run his own company, but he doesn't want to have employees. He just wants to have enough business to do it himself, right? And enough leads that he doesn't have to worry about anything, and he can just exist, make the money, do the business that he wants to do, a couple jobs a day or whatever, and that's it. He doesn't want to grow. He doesn't want to make it bigger. So he's on Angie, and he's getting about half the leads that he ultimately wants to get. And so he comes and talks to me, and he's telling me all this stuff. And, in the back of my head, I'm thinking like, okay, like, what would I do if I was in a situation? And I'm talking to him about it. And I'm like, look, SEO could definitely lower your costs over time, but it doesn't really sound like you're going to need something like that. I mean, I think if you get reviews, right, you might be able to start getting a few customers from that. But I think where you want to go is just, if you're doing these Angie and you don't want to stop doing that, that's working for you, and you're looking for a second avenue, I think LSA ads are the way to go. You just need to get your Google business profile up, right? And then you can, go through the steps and start doing these LSA ads. And then if those work out for you, then you might just be good, right? You might not really want to worry about it. He's got a great average ticket, right? So he can pay a little more than his competitors are for these leads. So it's just like kind of a no-brainer, right? And I mean, if he wants to talk about SEO in the future, like obviously, like I'm open to it, but I don't know. It didn't seem like there was really a point, and he was just kind of looking for a quick fix that he could use, and he wanted to be able to turn it up and down, right? So that's great. If somebody's not trying to scale, it's difficult for me to really get them on board anyways. I mean, I only charge people low figures so that they can grow and I can grow with them, right? That's my goal, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, you should do this. And, if you just want to get it up, then, just get yourself a service area business and just go. Like, there's no reason to sit around. You could literally go right now. He already had a shirt with his logo and some tools, right? He's been working. So I'm like, you could literally just go outside right now and shoot this video, get your profile up, go start the LSA ads process right now, start the background check so that can go through. And within a week or two, you can have this thing running. And if you want to add me to it, I can, show you the ropes or help you out a little bit more there. And, because that's just what I do. I mean, I'll help anybody. I like helping people. I got some guy on Twitter that's apparently sold somebody as a client, and now he's asking me how to do everything. And part of me wants to be like, dude, if you're asking me this many questions about how to do this stuff, like, maybe you shouldn't be taking customers. But whatever. Like, I don't know. I feel like I just like to help people, right? You never know when somebody's going to come back around. I don't know if somebody's going to end up white labeling, starting a $1 billion company and come back around to me, go to a competitor. They don't like the competitor. They come back to me like, dude, you do not know. I do not know where these things go. You're just planting little seeds, right? Like, I like talking about SEO. I like SEO and I like helping people. If people want to ask me about it, I'm going to tell them everything I think. And I got no reason to push people into trying to do something they don't want to do or that isn't good for them. That's even worse. I don't want a bad review for $500. If somebody came up to me and said, I'll give you $500, but you have to take like an awful review on your Google business profile, I would say no, unless it was like, I could do like 10,000 of them or something, right? If you want to give me 10,000 bad reviews for $500 each, then I could probably handle that at some point to my benefit, right? But other than that, that's not worth it for me. I mean, I'm losing sleep over here trying not to get bad reviews. I don't want bad reviews. So, and that's not even my motivation. I mean, my motivation is just to plant seeds. And if I help every single person who comes my way, somebody's going to come back, or a friend. Dude, I've got one guy who's now given me like 3 or 4 reviews, and half of those people have or referrals, and half those people have become customers. So like, you just do not know the kind of people that are on the other end of that phone or that conversation and what they have, what their reach is. You could talk to somebody and just be nice to them and help them out, and all of a sudden you find out they've got 100 other business owners they're in some freaking group in, and they're all calling you. Like, these things happen. So whatever, this guy, dude, so I helped him write, and then he's like, I'm gonna write you a review. And usually I would be like, let me get you done, let me get you finished, right? I'm doing a better job at like just striking when the iron is hot. Like, do not wait. Don't sit around and wait till later, right? Don't wait. Just let them do it now while they're excited. So instead of saying, let me get your Google business profile set up and your LSA set up first and going through that whole thing, I was like, okay. So I sent him my review link, and dude wrote me a all I said was, hey, the longer it is, the better. And if you include the word SEO in it, that's going to help me. And the guy wrote me a novel. He actually went and wrote 2 novels from 2 different profiles that he had on my. So I got 2 reviews on my business profile for 30 minutes of work. I think a review is probably worth $1,000, especially once you hit that 200 mark, where you're potentially going to be making, let's say, so the statistic is people with 200 reviews or more are likely to double, or do on average double the amount of revenue than people with under 200 reviews. So at 200 reviews, that's, if the average is 50K, then you're at least going to be at 100K a year. So at $50,000, right, for 20 reviews, right? So they're worth like $250 each a year. So how much is that review really worth, right? So reviews are worth at least a few $100 each, generally, from a real person. So I got paid like $500 basically from that guy in review credit. So I don't know. It's just like crazy things happen every day when you're involved. You just got to be in the game. if it's this game, if it's a different game, whatever your game is, you got to choose the game, and then you cannot stop. You just got to keep going. That was one of the hardest things for me to learn. Get in the game, stay in the game. Let things compound around you. You know, the wind isn't always at your back, but if you're always trying to go the same direction, then it is a lot of times. But when you're switching directions all the time, then, you know, it's always here, there, whatever. Like, you don't have any good or bad because it's always changing. You're changing. But when you're going one direction, sometimes it's at your front, but then it comes to your back and you get all this momentum that just comes in these bursts in your direction. So, you know, don't give up. Keep going. Go in one direction. You can. I've learned how to do this now. I used to do this. Switch, change. Oh, this business. Oh, I'm changing today. And I got nowhere. Well, duh. You're not letting things compound in your favor. You're not getting any momentum. If you stop every time you take a step, you're never going to be running. How are you going to do a marathon or get down that way? You're never going to. So pick something, go for it. Right? I think that's one of the best things you can do. And you're going to find that compounding. These are the things. It seems like every time I have a tough day, literally when I have tough days, within a day or two, I'm sitting in a position where something great has happened and I'm going, man, that's crazy. I typically would have probably given up, 2 days ago from that, when I was just complaining about this and this. I normally would have just given up, but this time I didn't. And now I'm having this amazing thing happen to me. So yeah, help people. And if you're asking yourself like, oh, I don't have any clients or I don't know what to do, go freaking help somebody for free. That's what I did. That's what a lot of people do. That's a really good way to get testimonials and get yourself going. Like, I think fill your schedule with what's in front of you. If you got 3 or 4 friends that have businesses, ask them if you can work on them. Try to get some customers. Keep trying to get customers. Work on their stuff. Get engaged. All right, whatever. I'm out. Peace.